Hey guys, so this build is becoming one of my favorite builds ever. Actually, for the first time ever, I want to keep improving the build, keep playing it, because there are still so many things I can improve and so many different, I guess, ways I can improve. But this is basically the same build as from my last video. I was using minion instability with some Raging Spirits and Ward Loop. But like I said, if I were to just use spells instead of minion stability, obviously with the proper passive skill tree and a couple other items changed, I could do like 10 times more damage. And yep, I am doing around 10 times more damage. So this build currently has around 10 million DPS, although it feels like it's more. It may be more because I'm using Manabond on a 5-link still, which I believe can overlap with the Awakened Spell Cascade, but I'm not sure how many times can it overlap, so it could be a lot more than 10 million DPS. It could be just around 10 million DPS against other bosses if they are smaller. I'm not too sure. And the main single target setup are firestorms, while Manabond does the clearing for the most part. Now, this build is amazing for a couple reasons. First of all, I don't need to click flask. Well, actually, I need to click flask at the start of the map. But I don't need to worry about the flask. I don't need to click anything else, pretty much. Just walk around and pick up the loot. And it feels very tanky until a certain point when enemies start to do too much damage in a single hit. I haven't tried any Uber bosses yet, but I tried the Sirus, I tried all the Conquerors, I tried Simulacrum, I haven't tried Maven, but I tried pretty much what I had on hand. And it does everything I wanted. Simulacrum, I got pretty unlucky on wave 22. I got super sketchy mods with double extra damage, crit, penetration, and there was causes, and I just could not deal with that. But essentially build works the best against smaller hits. It also works extremely well in delving. I can get 400 darkness stacks before I start taking actual damage. Until like 400 darkness stacks, I can just walk in darkness, no big deal, even with Righteous Fire on. Uber Labyrinth traps also don't really care about that, doesn't really do damage to me. Degen effects, for the most part, don't care. There are some degen effects, but just insanely OP, like Sirus when it leaves the burning ground or whatever it is. I'm not even sure what kind of damage that is. That also does damage, obviously. But I think most builds are afraid of those kind of dots. So if other builds are not afraid of some dots, then this build doesn't even feel those dots at all. Even 10 corrupting stacks while I have Righteous Fire on don't really do damage to me. Well, it does damage, but you don't really even feel it. It feels very tanky against dots, it feels very tanky against smaller hits, but it can start getting one-shotted if you don't have the right setup, the right defenses, the right amount of life, the right amount of ward. Mind over matter, but either way it's not really a tanky build per se, because you don't have any armor, no armor, and barely cap resistances, because Annihilating Light, I'm using Annihilating Light now because it's the best damage staff for elemental skills, which makes it also harder to cap my resistances. However, I added the Fed Flask, the Bismuth Flask, with the extra additional elemental resistances as well. For delving, for example, it would be very convenient to have a Phasing Flask. I'm working on upgrading boots right now to have movement speed, so I can maybe drop Quicksilver and use Phasing Flask instead, but that's just for the delving. If you don't do delving, you don't need to worry about that too much. I don't really have any other defenses other than sap, and that's it, yeah. Just sapping enemies to make them do less damage, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is just massive amount of life sustain and ward. Now, like I said in the previous video, I already talked extensively, or maybe I haven't said. I'm not sure what I already mentioned, because I'm recording this video for the third time now. So I may be missing something, but if you are curious more about the Ward Loop, check my previous video. It's a pretty long video, but it has a lot of information about the ward. And the only thing that I got it wrong was, if you take 1 damage, you take 1 damage. You don't take 1 damage plus your ward, essentially. That's the only mistake, silly mistake that I made. The budget of this build is around 20 exalts right now, maybe a bit over 20x. I'm pretty sure you can do it on a lower budget, but I would really not recommend you to try it below 10 exalts. If you don't have 10 exalts, don't even try this build. You do require certain alternate quality skills and support gems, and then certain uniques. I have 7 unique jewels equipped right now, and I still want more. But essentially, this build is not very budget friendly. But then again, for most people who play meta builds, they would say 20x, that's low budget. For me, 20x, that's pretty high budget. That's very high budget. Most of my builds are like 5 results. So this build, I am still trying to improve, and there are lots of expensive upgrades that I could do. I already got better boots, but I need boots enchantment. Now, the big change that I did from my previous build, I was using level 17 cast when damage taken, but now I am doing enough damage and I am able to use level 21 cast when damage taken. But for that I needed level 21 anomalous summon skeletons. Level 21 is needed to summon 4 skeletons at the same time instead of 3, which increases the damage you take overall. Unfortunately, level 21 anomalous summon skeleton, any quality, costs like 20 exalts. The cheaper solution is, which is still pretty expensive, is to get an amulet with +1 to all skill gems, which is gonna raise, combined with level 20 anomalous skeletons, is gonna raise it to 21. And that will allow you to do the 21 gem setup. Just don't forget that inside body armor, plus any body armor that would affect support gems like cast and damage taken, you don't want to overlevel cast and damage taken, because the body armor gives +2 levels, so it becomes level 21, and which is enough to proc highest level firestorm. For any other skill actually, you can use any other skill that you can think of. Soul Rend, Ice Spear, whatever you want. I just wanted something that wasn't Ice Spear that still had good scaling. And Firestorm turns out has really good scaling with this. You pretty much only see the big meteors drop because the smaller ones get removed because you can only have 3, or was it 5? 3. You can only have 3 Firestorms active at the same time. So if you cast the 4th one, it's gonna remove the smaller meteors, but the big meteor is still gonna drop. Now current proc rate is 4.33, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If I get 27 CDR cooldown recovery rate, which I could get by changing the belt and getting boots implicit with the CDR, then I would be able to, I believe, go from 4.33 procs per second to 5 something, which is essentially like 16% more damage multiplier. But then, like I said, I have to get more passive points on the passive skill tree, remove 1 to Dust Jewel, do a couple other changes, and I'm not sure if that's worth it. It may also mess up the mana cost, the mana and the damage done. I don't know if it's worth doing that, and also kill FPS even more. So if you're curious about this build, obviously I'm gonna leave path for building import code in video description, but this is not a finalized build. I still want to improve this build, and you can definitely make adjustments to this. God, I hate the recording video multiple times. I cannot remember what I already said and what I haven't said. You know what, let me just go over my items. And so the helmet needs to have over 600 ward for it to be decent. And then each ward item also should have some resistance if you're going with Annihilating Light, because it's pretty difficult to cap your res otherwise. The gloves are still the same as in the previous video. I just crafted a nav instead of minute damage. The boots are also the same for now, but I need to change them. I got the better boots waiting. These boots and gloves, you need at least 400 plus ward. Movement speed, if you go for movement speed, you cannot get as much ward, but if you roll tier 1 flat ward and tier 1 percentage ward, then you can have movement speed and have still decent amount of ward. You do want to search for high percentile base ward items, which means we can roll, like you see this ward base goes from 102 to 117. In the very end, that's gonna matter quite a lot. You're gonna get quite a lot more ward by getting like 100% percentile items, but those could be a bit pricier. The ring, I managed to craft this myself. I just bought Ele Weakness implicit, and then I believe I used the essences to get crit multi, and then managed to hit life and some recoup, and then crafted a resistance. The amulet, like I said, I needed +1 to active skill gems, but also wanted some damage and a resistance. So crit multi is probably the best damage source, and then lightning rest. But the amulet like this is now 4 exalts, something around. I tried to turn an amulet like this into talisman to get global defense implicit. However, you need Jorgen in a research to be tier 2 to turn into tier 2 talisman. I had tier 3 Jorgen, and I just thought, you know what, whatever, maybe I'll get something nice. But the amulet like that can be expensive gamble. Essentially, you want +1 to all skill gems, unless you have level 21 anomalous skeletons. then you don't need to worry about +1, and then you can just get a decent amulet, maybe with life, crit multi, resistances, and then try to turn it into global defense implicit. You want to essentially turn it into clutching talisman, because it can give you up to 25% increased global defenses, which would give quite a bit more ward, and I would probably have like 1.9k ward, maybe even up to 2k ward, which would be a massive upgrade. But like I said, buying +1 to all skill gem amulet is pretty expensive, and then there's a big gamble which one of these you're gonna get, and that's pretty low chance. You can get other good things like increased maximum life would also be nice. Crit chance is also kind of nice. Global crit multi can also be nice. So there are good things that you can get on the tier 2 amulet talismans. You can buy pretty bad tier 2 talismans with global defense and +1 to all skill gems with pretty much nothing else, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. If you can get enough resistances, maybe it is worth it. You would be a bit tankier but probably have less damage, and then anointing that would also be more expensive. So I'm not sure if it's worth focusing on talisman that much. I still don't have a helmet enchantment. I am thinking of recrafting the helmet and trying to maybe get something better, since I'm gonna be running labyrinth to enchant. I do need this boost enchantments because I just ran out of mana, and I already picked up more mana nodes. I already have 20% mana recoup, this one 10, and then this one mastery. I got mind over matter. Mind over matter I actually have on the body armor, so don't be surprised that I don't have it on passive skill tree. It is on the body armor. The body armor is actually very cheap. You don't necessarily need mind over matter on it, so you just get something that is not bad for you, and just get the right colors, and that's it. Now the gem setup is currently level 19 cast when damage taken inside the body armor with 21 Firestorm, which gets quite a lot of levels from this body armor and from the Empower. Empower is level 4, but it turns to level 6, so it gives +5 to levels. Awaken Fire Pen, critical damage, and inspiration to lower the mana cost by quite a lot, and also give a bit more crit chance. All the gems have to be corrupted if you want to socket in Skin of Lords. It doesn't have to be corrupted if you use Skin of Loyal. In side boots, I have cast and damage taken level 21, doesn't need quality, with anomalous summon skeletons level 20. Any quality will do as long as it is more than like 0.2 seconds. Anomalous minion speed, you need that reduced minion duration. And then Firebolt, I am using Firebolt, and I have Winter just for the brittle. So I have Winter, like if I had an extra socket I would link Frostbolt to the Unbound Ailments. I cannot have this cast and damage taken to be a higher level. If I level this to level 13 it doesn't work anymore. So it needs to be precisely balanced. I already mentioned in the previous video, you have to trigger the loop, leave it in the hideout for like 5 minutes and see if the loop breaks. I had this happen today. Yesterday it was working everything fine, and today the ward started breaking. I left it for like 2 minutes, was doing some other stuff, and the ward broke. And I had to take an extra increased flask effect duration on this one. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of min-maxing. I am using 2 medium jewels with the flask duration. I'm thinking now maybe I need to do a couple more changes. Maybe I can squeeze in the 4th flask. Right now I cannot. Maybe later I can do that. I'm also using Intuitive Leap. I just picked up this one, big spell damage. The block doesn't really matter. I decided to not even take the glancing blows. Why? If I cannot have 100% block chance, then eventually the hit will be unblocked, and that hit will kill me. If that hit can kill me, then having more block chance is not gonna save me from one-shots. And pretty much only one-shots can kill me, so I decided to not even take glancing blows. Now, I know that this looks weird, this pathing looks weird, but I needed enough jewel sockets, and I needed to lower the mana cost. And I don't see a better option for now. Also move the Timeless Jewel here. In here you can get more things. Like this has movement speed. It doesn't really have anything great, sadly. I may still try to roll something better, and I may still need to take these later on. Now this one would be amazing. Increased flash charges gain may help quite a lot, but then I would need to change the belt setup. I basically need to still improve quite a bit more. But if you want to copy this build, oh my god, if you want to copy this build and also become blind, I'm gonna leave path for building import code in video description as always. Like overall I'm very happy with this build. One big drawback is that it's sometimes hard to see what's happening. I was doing Uber lab and I only died because I could not see what Izara was doing, and I think I died to the swing. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm not sure about the next video what I'm gonna do, because I want to keep playing this. Maybe I'll do another update to this build if people are not yet bored and still have vision left after this video. So for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.